Alrighty, let's get started. So, welcome to the Mediacurrent Contrib Half-Hour. It is August 16th, and it is Thursday. So, today we're going to take a look at what's new in Drupal 8.6. And I need to remove the slide transition. So, today's agenda, we're going to do a little housekeeping. We're going to take a look at the core release schedule, then we'll look at some specific improvements in the new version, and then leave you with some suggestions on how to get involved to make it even better. So, some housekeeping. As always, my name is Damien McKenna. I am community lead at Mediacurrent. I've been the Drupaler since 2007, full-time since 2008. I co-maintain a couple of modules you might have heard or hopefully use. And you might recognize me as that person who hops around the issue queues. So I work with Mediacurrent. We're a full-service digital agency that implements world-class open source software development strategy and design to achieve defined goals for enterprises and organizations seeking better return on investment. We build some cool websites. So moving on. Next week, we're going to have a general Q&A. Please bring your burning Drupal questions, and we'll see if we can work out some possible answers, whether it is an issue queue item or, hey, even if you have something you're trying to work out how to do, we'd love to help. Then we're going to have a testing lab, which is our ongoing series showing you how to write tests. Then an issues lab where we dig through issue queues looking for some things to work on, and then we'll have another presentation. So let's get into today's content. So first off, the core release schedule. So it is August right now, halfway through August. Coming up next month on the projected date of September 5th is going to be the very first release of the Drupal 8.6 release cycle, so 8.6.0. That means it is the first stable version of the 8.6 release branch, and at that point, it's worth noting all previous versions lose support for security updates. There can be some blurring of that definition depending on issues, but in general, the idea is that when 8.6 comes out, you really need to start looking to update your 8. whatever sites to 8.6. And we'll talk a little bit later about options before then. The general idea then is in mid-October, there would be the first security release window for the 8.6 branch. And then from that point forward until 8.7 comes out, security releases will be for 8.6. The goal right now, tentatively, is, well, going according to the existing release cycle, that the 8.7 release cycle will start kind of first month of 2019. So around about New Year's, give or take, you should start seeing 8.7.0 alpha releases being released. And then the 8.7.0 release itself coming out in March. There's still some ongoing debates and discussions. If you check out that URL, there's lots of detail on it, and there are some ongoing discussions on maybe that needs to be adjusted, but that's what the current time frame is. So let's look into what's new in 8.6. So the first one off is media improvements. So a big improvement in 8.6 is that the media subsystem now has a whole library. You don't need a third party, or not third party, you don't need an extra contrib module to give you this functionality to see what media is already uploaded into your site and select it. So you can reuse existing media out of the box. And now there's also this really swishy uploader that lets you upload multiple items at once. And that is going to be a great boost for, or boon for many sites, especially when you get into things like galleries and stuff. Another really neat improvement is the support for OEmbed, which is a standard for embedding remote media on your site. And out of the box, there's going to be support for I think YouTube and Vimeo, but ultimately you can write your own plugins to support any other service. So instead of having to write this huge plugin system, lots and lots of custom code for handling remote media of different types, you use the existing OEmbed standard and write a small plugin, and documentation will be available on how to do that. It takes very little code, in fact. So now, another neat thing is the layout system in Drupal core. That started life as kind of pulling in parts of the panelizer and panel system into core. And right now, it's worth noting that they're not considered stable modules. There's still a number of things that they don't, a number of scenarios they don't handle fully, some known problems with them around some revision handling where there's missing functionality and lots of bits and pieces, but they are working their way towards having a very, very solid, stable system. And one of the key improvements here is that you will now be able to embed blocks directly in Layout Builder, which is kind of the replacement for Panelizer, directly from the UI. You won't have to go over to a separate place, create your block, and then embed it. You can do it straight in the UI. And also, they can work with the revision handling of the parent entity as well, which gets really useful when you get into content moderation. But anyway, another key improvement is that all of the extra fields can be used. So until now, it only worked with actual fields or actual blocks. There was a missing thing of, say you've got the comments functionality, there was no way of controlling where that went. Likewise with the moderation control field. Those things are now available and it's much more robust. So it's more like, it's getting to be more like the panels on Drupal 7. Another huge improvement in the world of Drupal is the out-of-the-box experience. A huge team of people from all over the world built what is called the Umami installation profile, which gives a demonstration of some of the advanced capabilities in Drupal. And this team did lots of great work building the architecture, then got to designing their own recipes, taking really high quality photos of the food and the different steps of the recipe creation. It was a really neat project to see them build. And this is now available. It was there in 8.5, but it was hidden, so you couldn't actually use it yet. So they finished it off and it's now available out of the box in 8.6. So you can now, when people say, hey, what's Drupal? Can you give me a tour? Now you have this advanced a demo out of the box you can show. And they also made a number of improvements to it, including making it work much better with a responsive display. So it fits better on mobile devices as well as desktops. But that's not the only improvements. There are tons of things under the hood. Things like the migrate system has been marked as stable. So it's now the upgrade path from 8.6 and Drupal 6 and Drupal 7 to Drupal 8 is now considered stable. There may be some missing pieces, and there are lots of bits and pieces in the contrib world that need to be updated and finished off, but the core system itself is stable and works well. They've also done a lot of improvements on the content moderation and workflow system. And one neat thing for somebody who comes from the perspective of building lots of sites and architecting them, there's a new system with installation profiles where instead of having to, say, start off with a standard site install, which was back here, instead of having to say start with standard and then building what you need, you can export a given set of configuration files and tell the installation profile to just build from there. And you run the site installer and everything works out of the box when you're building it that way. But it's an important feature for many site builders. And they're also doing some looking to the future, making lots of improvements under the hood to the JavaScript system. They've got a huge plan on building a really advanced, improved admin UI. But one of the first steps was to build or get into core a better testing system. Part of the reason for that was that the old testing system was marked unsupported by its maintainers a number of years back. And so this now gives people who want to build something much more modern and advanced a capability of building the necessary testing suite around that to make sure that it works as intended. But there will be lots more. When, sorry, I have the things in the wrong order. But some of the things that didn't quite make it into core for 8.6 are things like the JSON API functionality that comes from the API First initiative. They have put a tremendous amount of functionality into that and have built a very robust system that is used by thousands of sites all over the world. However, it wasn't quite ready for inclusion in 8.6 when it got to the beta release cycle. And so it was decided to wait on that and instead put it into 8.7 next year. That's not to say it's not stable now. It is considered stable now as a contrib module. And like I said, lots of large production sites have been using it for some time, but it just isn't into core yet. As well as that, the previously mentioned JavaScript-based admin UI isn't finished yet. There's lots more work to go on it. But maybe we'll start to see some pieces in 8.7. And it's also worth mentioning there was an effort to build a replacement or better help system. Some foundational pieces went into 8.6 where they rebuilt some of the APIs and did some kind of housekeeping and rearranging there. So in 8.6. Some of the main functionality won't get in until 8.7. And at that point, it'll be easier to build inline help for all of the standard site functionality. So a real beginner will have better guides and better instructions on how to work with the site. When 8.6.0 is released, there will be a page like this. This is a page that was written for 8.5 that explained what was new. And it's linked off of the 8.5.0 release notes. And it goes through step by step showing all of the major improvements in 8.6. So when it comes out, you'll have this as a really good guide to help you understand all of the improvements. So with a couple of weeks ago, there's still time to get involved. As mentioned earlier, you can start testing your sites now. Anything you have on 8.5 or 8.4 if you haven't updated yet, or 8.3, though hopefully not. You can download beta 2 right now. I'm sure they'll release a release candidate 1 in a week or two, or at least another beta, depending on what they decide. But that will help you test to see if there are any changes that you need to adapt to for the new release. And you can find that by find a link to it by going to the main Drupal project page, which is /project/Drupal. So drupal.org/project/Drupal. Scroll down underneath the links to the stable releases, you'll have this block here. It says Drupal 8.6.0 is coming soon. You can also use that locally for testing out functionality and for then getting involved in bug fixing core itself. There are plenty of issues available if you go to drupal.org/project/issues/Drupal, or just click the issues link on the Drupal project page and try doing some searches for keywords of things that you have an interest in. Say if you'd like to help make the OEmbed functionality even better, or help test that, do a search for OEmbed. Or if you want to help out with the Umami out-of-the-box experience, try searching for that. But a quick thank you to Angie Byron, who actually put together a blog post with some of these details and lots of links to issues on Drupal.org where people are looking for help to get things finished off. So thank you for joining us. As a reminder, next week's meeting is August 23rd, and we're going to have a general Q&A. So thank you for joining us, and have a great week.